Hey guys, I'm Ashley and today we're going to make some summer ice cream door hangers here on Chip Builds. So let's check it out. Okay, so when you cut material out on the laser unmasked, typically on the cut line you will get these scorch marks. And if you want to avoid those, all you have to do is put some kind of masking over your material. But I knew I was going to paint these, so it's not going to matter. Like up here, this won't matter. However, I am leaving this bottom portion of the two ice cream cones as the natural wood color. So I am going to sand just these two little edges away, and it should be pretty quick. So I'm just going to use 120 grit sandpaper to do this. It literally took like 2 minutes to do that. So these are ready to be painted now. Okay, so now we are gonna paint the top of this first ice cream cone. And then these parts that sit in the middle, I'm gonna mix these two blue paints together to get kind of a darker shade. That way it will match the paint that we're gonna use for that. And we're gonna use this chalked up paint that you can get on auntietay.com. And this is the color teal. It looks really cool and I think it'll make the ice cream really pop. Oh, I'm loving this color. And what I really like about this paint too, it's not like the other craft paints where it's like you're gonna have to put on like 100 coats. Like this is covering pretty well with the first coat. So I kind of think I'm only gonna have to do, 2 coats total, as opposed to when I use like the Apple Barrel brand, like the little 50-cent one, that takes like 4 or 5 coats. But I'm loving how this color looks. One thing to keep in mind too, if you do use MDF for this project, you might want to put a white base coat down, just because MDF does have a tendency to soak in whatever paint or stain that you're using with it. So just keep that in mind. So really think about what material you're going to choose for your project. I'm using this just because this is what I had on hand and it cuts like butter in the glowforge. The good thing is this paint should dry really quickly because it is like 95 degrees here in California. So you won't have to wait too long. So this project can be done in just a few hours. All right, I'm just gonna let this dry in the sun just for a little bit. Okay, so now the next thing I'm gonna do is paint these little inside pieces, and I am just gonna mix up some of this teal chalked up paint with some of the royal. But I'm gonna do just very small dab of the royal and mix it up. That way it's just a little bit darker than that, and I think it'll add some nice contrast. So I'm just gonna mix it up in this little cup. Okay, so while the paint on the first popsicle stick is drying, I'm going to use some Sharpie markers to color in the sunglasses and the words Hello Summer. I already started with this silver Sharpie. I just wanted to do a test and I ended up doing the whole thing. So I'll probably go over a second coat with that, and then I'm going to use this super fat Sharpie marker to just go around the edges, because I didn't want to paint these a specific color of the chalk paint because I didn't want it to really take away from what's going on with the rest of the ice cream. So that's why this is going to be very basic, just black and silver, and the words are just going to be white. Oh my gosh, you guys, this looks so much better than I thought it could possibly even look. I love this pattern HTV. It's called Lava Rock, but to me it just looks like a bunch of different melted ice creams thrown together, and the MDF accepted it perfectly. So now you could have cut it out on the Cricut and had it be the perfect outline, but I didn't want to pull out my Cricut just to do something like that because it's just simple round shape, so I could just use the X-Acto knife to go around it. But oh my gosh, this is so awesome, and I cannot wait to put this all together. Alright, so I'm just going to use that thick super glue to glue the HTV top onto the base. So now that I've put the glue on, I'm just going to use these little fabric sewing clamps just to put it around this so that it gets a nice strong bond. So just gonna clamp that up for a little bit and let it dry. Okay, so the next thing to do is to glue on the cone outlines. And so I'm just using this same super glue, but I'm just gonna put some, dab it in a couple key places and like all these little tic-tac-toe joints. Now, I was a little messy with the placement, so some glue did kind of get spread around, but I'm hoping it's gonna be okay. And then the last thing that our ice cream needs is some shades. So I think I'm gonna try and get them to be right about there. And the nice thing about this is ice creams don't typically wear sunglasses, so if it's not perfect, it doesn't really matter because they don't typically wear this item of clothing anyways. Alright, so we're just gonna let that dry, and then we can move on to the next one now. So on this one, I wasn't paying attention when I cut it out on the glowforge, and I definitely snipped off the top of it. Luckily, this was the backer board, and I posted about this on Instagram, and a bunch of people said I should make a little cutout for it, like you took a bite out of the ice cream, which is super awesome, and I'll probably do that for a future project. But because this was the backing piece, I'm just gonna leave it and just glue on the front piece to it and keep it as its original design. All right, so let's get some glue on here. Seriously, these little like sewing fabric clamp thingies are the best. Perfect for your glowforge projects, for gluing together. Oh, I don't even need them on the top. What am I doing? So they are perfect. And then, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more glue here in the center. And then we're gonna put in these little darker pieces. They're really tight fit. So I'm gonna let this dry really quickly, and then we can put the words "Hello Summer" on there. Okay, so I know this isn't gonna be perfect, but I'm gonna try my best to get it somewhat straight, but we'll see. So I kind of just placed this out how I kind of think it's gonna look. I think I'm gonna glue in the first and the last letter and then kind of space out the middle ones so that it's somewhat even. Alright, so to hang the ice cream cones onto the door or wall or wherever you're gonna do it, I cut out this little 2-piece bracket system to where you can put the thread through, and then on the back the knots can sit. That way it's not flush against the finished piece, and then hopefully it's not gonna make the finished piece look kind of wonky on the door. So I've seen something similar like this going around online, so I just decided to make my own version of it. And from the front you can't even tell that there's that extra piece. So I'm just gonna use some hot glue and super glue to put these together. So I'm using Starbond thick adhesive. Starbond is definitely one of my favorite super glues. Okay, so pro tip, if you are going to use these, you definitely want to have the string attached to it before you glue it onto the back. With the other ice cream, I didn't do that, and it took forever to get the string through. So definitely have this prepared before you glue it onto the back. And now we are ready to hang these up. So you can find the files that I use to make these over on auntietay.com. Her membership is like $8 and you get access to a ton of S3G files. So you can download these ones and make this project for yourself. And if you want to use the paints and the HTV vinyl that I used, then you can go over to shopauntietay.com and those items will be there. I'll put a link down in the description below. But thank you guys so much for watching this video and can't wait to see you to the next one. See ya.